Noel stepped in as Dad was feeling under the weather.
Yay!
So next we're going to have a couple dances from Pilot into 6. So we do straight down to here and straight in the back. And go from there.
Oops, sorry.
Let me come over here. Go like this. Shift over, yeah. Oops, sorry. Sitting on you.
Does he help?
Technical assistance with the music system.
Hi, guys.
So how about this blue jacket?
I'm live at the pub.
Oh.
Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube.
Oh, Chad and Richard got me onto a new show. Nothing's happening. Oh.
Yep. Oh, this is great. Oh, wow. I'm doing some swords.
Next, they're going to be doing the sword dance, and traditionally, this was danced before a battle, and if they touched a sword, they would be killed. So we don't want that to happen to anybody here tonight.
Pass me the whiskey.
That's Highland in the 6. Thank you, guys. So this is our third Burns night of the week, our 15th year doing Robbie Burns, and this week we just sold out about 500 pounds of haggis, which is a little disturbing. So what we're going to do now is Bryce Simpson, who's the brand ambassador for Glenmorangie Canada, is going to come up and talk about our first whiskey, and then we're going to have the address of the haggis from Nick Rennie, who runs Innocent Gun for North America. And we're going to have some poems and eat some haggis and drink some whiskey. Bryce Simpson.
Thank you, David, and may I say a happy Robbie Burns night to everyone here. Thanks for joining us here at the Caledonian for this. I do know what it's like when I go around the room. Some people have been invited to this Scottish thing, and and then it said Robbie Burns. Who on earth is Robbie Burns? Well, before we get going, just a little introduction about the man himself. He was born in the mid 1700s. His full-time job was actually a taxman, and then he got more famous over the years as being a writer and a poet, and it's what we say is Scotland's national bard. He himself wrote some of the most famous poetry, which went on to become some of the most famous songs coming from Scotland.
We both know he was a bit of a
Certainly, the one that I think everyone know would be Auld Lang Syne. That belter of a song. Total banger. What we find though in Scotland is that although Robbie Burns is really important to us, and I always remember growing up in Scotland at both primary school and then high school, we were talking quite a lot about the works of Burns, but really it was more to grow an appreciation of literature and poetry. And I would say, as much as like Burns himself is not necessarily someone I would jump in and say is ultimately my favourite poet, learning about Robbie Burns was something that really pushed me on to learn quite a lot about it. Another thing as well, when it comes to celebrations in Scotland, usually it's the 25th of January and the majority of places have a Robbie Burns night. But we are in Canada, specifically the Caledonian, and they have Robbie Burns Week. And that's something, yeah, can't sing that, Scotland, you can't sing that. What we usually see as well is that in more modern times, Robbie Burns Night is not just about poetry necessarily, or even about Robbie Burns. More modern times, it's a celebration of Scotland. And in terms of tonight, we're going to go a little bit of that. You've already heard some amazing bagpipe music there, amazing dancing. We're going to have amazing Scottish food. And of course, my part in this evening is to share some of this delicious single malt Scotch whisky. So my job at Glenmorangie is the brand ambassador for Canada. Practically what that means is that I get to travel across Canada sharing whiskey with people. When you share whiskey with a Scottish accent, you make a lot of friends. Highly recommend it to everyone. And I actually look after two distilleries. One is Glenmorangie, we're enjoying this evening, and also the other is Ardbeg. And we're actually here at the Ardbeg Embassy, and this is like Ardbeg's favourite pub in Canada. When it comes to Glenmorangie, we're definitely on the more elegant side of Scotch whisky. Some people may think of Scotch whisky being quite rough and ready to some extent. Glenmorangie, this is the most elegant of the elegant. You're going to be getting flavours in here, which may be a little bit sweet, a little bit fruity, a little bit spicy. The one thing you will not get in any of our Glenmorangies here is any smoke. When it came to our distillery, although it started in 1843, you'll be happy to know I'm not going to give you a year-by-year history lesson right through to now. But what's interesting is that the Matheson family that started Glenmorangie, it was Anne Matheson and William Matheson. When it came to William Matheson passing away only 16 years after the operations getting up and running, Anne Matheson took over the whole operation of the distillery, which was very unusual at the time, and also the business as well. Unfortunately, she had to do that in secret, because back in the late 1800s in Scotland, as a female, she was not legally allowed to own a business. Which meant when the authorities went to Glenmorangie, she had to pretend to have a different job that day. So yeah, I'm not the owner, I'm just the cleaning lady. And then what happened though is that she herself wanted to change the idea of what Scotch whisky could be. And some people may think of single malt Scotch whisky being a bit rough and ready now, even more so in the late 1800s. So what she said, I want to make Glenmorangie a more elegant style of spirit. To do that, she went down to England, of all places, and she went down to a distillery called Chelsea Distillery. They made gin, not whiskey. Took on board some of the Taylor family from Chelsea Distillery, asked them,
Cheers,
is
Joe.
it possible to make a single malt Scotch whisky with that lovely, elegant, floral, fruity kind of aroma and flavour as the gin was being made? And what they did is actually
Oh, take a
install
slow,
these
wrong with
massive
you?
copper pot stills. Think of them just massive kettles for distillation. The more copper contact you get, the more pure the spirit's going
Hi,
to be.
Leanie.
And the way we see it, the more elegant. Those were installed about 1888. They still remain the tallest pot stills in Scotland. Yes! We will not shut up about that, just so you know. They stand at a whopping 5.14 metres. And you'll not remember that after 3 drams and a few lovely innocent gun lagers, I assure you. But just so you know, that just happens to be the same height as a male adult giraffe. So to answer the question, what's the deal with the giraffe? That's the deal with the giraffe. On your left-hand side, we're going to give a wee dram just now. So on the left-hand side of your tasting mat there, this is Glenmorangie Original, 12 years old. We've recently just changed it from a 10 years old to a 12. If you're going to be nosing whiskey, I highly recommend you do not use your nose, use your mouth. So have the glass at your nostrils, inhale through your mouth. Now we all look a little bit silly at the moment, I understand. So what we're doing just now is though, it takes away a little bit of the astringency when it comes to in terms of the single malt. And if you do want to compare it and act like a normal human being, feel free to use your nostrils. Just go back and forth, don't do it at the same time or you'll pass out. And I can't have that on my conscience, everyone. I've got enough on my plate. When it comes to enjoying single malt Scotch whisky, I'm no judgment if this is not your first whisky of the day. But in terms of what you should do, a small sip first of all, that lightens up your taste buds. Slightly bigger sip after that. Take about 5 or 7 seconds in your mouth. And the best thing about Glenmorangie and every single malt, the more you drink, the better it tastes.
The more you drink, the bigger the...
I'll tell you a bit more of this now though, but we're going to get on with the show. In Scotland, we don't always see cheers. What do we say?
Slanja!
Slàinte everyone. I'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, folks. We'll come back later.